Hi, I'm Gloria Keith with Action Speaks, and I'm here to share information in reference to overcoming oppression, internalized oppression. Oppression comes in many forms. You have racism, classism, adultism, polytheism, classism, and other isms that you can think of where someone or some group oppresses another person. We found today, which is 2012, July, that a lot of internalized oppression is in the forefront now. In order to deal with the external, like institutional oppression, we must first deal with and remove or delete the internalized oppression. Let me give you an example. When in the past, Black Americans or African Americans would create something, would utilize their creativity to or bring their dream to reality. And once it's done and exposed and light is brought to it, then the oppressor, another person who had the money and other things and liked the idea, wouldn't support the Black person or the African American. They would instead take charge of the idea or the creativity from that one African American or from the group of Black Americans. They would steal it. Traditional oppressors would steal the idea, use the idea, and make money off the idea, whereas the African American could have done if they had the economic support behind it. Now, today in 2012, we deal with it, African Americans, so I'm going to say Black Americans because that's what I am. I've never been to Africa. I would love to go there and visit my sisters and brothers there, but I have not. I am a Black American female. So, but today you still have the same thing. Let's say, for instance, in families, family reunions or what have you, someone comes up with an idea and wants to present it to the family. So they share the idea with just a few of the people in the group. And what happens, someone steals the idea and uses the idea, which is oppressing the idealist, the original idealist, and make money from it from the same targeted group that the idea was initiated for. Okay, what's the downside of this? You've heard the upside. It's to the advantage of the person that steals it and utilizes money and others outside of the group in order to create what the visionary, what the original visionary had planned. So they do it first and is accepted. It's accepted. The downside of this is that if you are not the original visionary of an idea, it is impossible to know the next steps in which to come. So eventually it dies out. But before that, that person that stole the idea from the originator or the original visionary, the person who stole the idea actually loses ground when he or she can't further develop the vision. That is the downside. But the upside of that is that they've already made money off someone else's idea and stole it. And the thing about it, we deal with so much of this internally in our families, in the Black community, that we end up creating a disaster, or we cause the death to our own community or our own family in economical form. Okay, so that is what I want to share today on oppression, the types of oppression, and the greatest oppression form that the Black American is dealing with today, which means America has to deal with, or America sees and must deal with it before we can overcome institutionalized oppression. We must deal with the internal oppression, how we work against ourselves to make a quick buck, and in the end we lose long-term goals or long-term economics, which will help our community to grow. The next time I'm going to talk about what Africa did bring to Black America, the style that the family should go in, and not just the Africans. There are other non-traditional groups that have brought in a development which will help us to overcome the internalized oppression if we go back to the original status of helping one, or the community helping one. Remember the proverb that, who was it, Mrs. Nixon or Bush, Mrs. Bush, took from the African proverb, and that is, it takes a village. Well, that's what it's all about. It takes a village. And I will share with you some of the original ideas of visionaries in Africa and what that means. It takes a village. Thank you for listening. Action Speaks. Gloria Keith.